Hello and welcome to the Reunion. I'm Stacey McGonigal.
Hi, my name is Jason DeRoss.
Oh yeah, killing it. We are back. We're
here.
We're here. And first off, we were in a very heated conversation about Bo Burnham's special, and then we probably should go live. But we were reading a bit of the chat. We just want to give a shout out and send some love to Cindy, who was let go from her job on Tuesday. She says she's not mad about it. She's ready to party, and so we are too. And welcome all of our lovely pals to the chat. Sean is here, Amanda's here, Thomas, Claire, Fred, Jan is in the building. We got Megan and Shayla as well.
Is this an Amanda's first time? Because, oh my, I'm here for the live chat. Happy Friday.
Welcome, Amanda. Welcome. Shayla wants to know if there's any other conversation between you and I that would not be categorized as heated. And to that, no, always heated all the time. Always. Yeah, always. But it's been a while. We did a Patreon episode. If you haven't checked that out or haven't dipped a toe in the Patreon, it's there for you. And we did a big deep dive into The Bachelor. Yeah, and we caught up on what's been going on. What's been going on.
It was a recap of episode 3, but also we touched on first episodes 1 and 2.
Yes.
We also were like, this is going to be a Bachelor recap. I think if you haven't listened to it yet, the first 20 minutes are basically just an irregulars episode.
I haven't been around for what feels like forever. And I just feel like, I lived a life. I'm still in many ways covered in hives. They're less maroon, but my skin feels different.
But you're wearing a comfortable Connor B shirt today.
I kind of am sporting like a Connor B vibe, but I will say that I feel let me just fix my hair. I do feel like the buttons are at least appropriate.
It's great. For those of you who are not watching The Bachelor, Connor B is like an elementary maths teacher, I believe, that wears Zorro shirts around.
Who's got a very aggressive kissing style,
aggressive kissing style.
I mean, she seems to be very much into it. Yeah. I also want to say here's what's great about today. I decided to maybe curl my hair, throw a lipstick on, and the curl has fallen in a way where it's like, did she just roll out of bed? So I don't know why I didn't just do that. You know
what's crazy is you've got these I love it, but you've also got for a long time have had that sort of very it goes from darker and then it gets down to a reddish strawberry blonde down here, or strawberry blonde.
Sure.
How are you you've had that for months? How do you keep that perfectly like that? Because I remember when I used to dye my hair, I was like, well, then you grow out, you get the cool looking roots for a second. When I say cool, and in the 90s it was cool. But then you have to get rid of it. You can't just keep that.
Right. Well, I want to say that my hair grows so slow, so that's really fun for me. But right before the pandemic, when we had that opening again, I got in and got my hair dyed. And she was like, let me dye it in a way where when it fades, it'll fade like this way. And she was right. So she was a master of her craft.
Also, can't complain about slow growing hair, because we've had to talk about it before about how expensive women's haircuts are. Jesus Christ. Don't want to do that.
Yeah. And it is really funny when men try and go, oh my God, that haircut was $40. And it's like, you know what, Dave, why don't you lick your own ass?
I've got haircut news, obviously. Thanks, Cindy. Yes, I got a haircut this week. And the last one I did not enjoy. I'm trying to find a new barber. I moved, so I'm in a new spot.
Okay.
So I found a new spot. You're going to hate this. $20. $20 for this haircut.
No, that's great. I mean, you do look like you're going off to war, and I hope you and your family have had
I went to one of these places. I don't know where to go. So I went up to one of these places and it felt like it's
Let's see the back, first of all.
I don't know if I could do this. I also have a new chair and it doesn't give me a lot of room to spin. But.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it looks like you were just laying down.
Could be. It could be I have a flat head, maybe. I don't know.
But here's the thing. I am giving Jason room to live his life in the way that he needs to live it. But
what would you do? Okay, so tell me how I would have done this any better.
No, I just want to give context. The last time we were talking, you didn't like your previous haircut because he took too much off the top. Because
you didn't take any off the top. That's the problem.
But you wanted some length. You wanted some length. So this man has taken
the opposite.
So I'm just saying, it might sound like I'm judging his haircut, but I'm taking what my friend says he wants and I'm watching him never get it. So I just want people to know.
I'm not downing this haircut. I know that because you're the one that said, oh yes, it looks like you're going off to the army. And I'm like, I know. But like, I'd prefer
I never
this
said it looked bad.
So the compliment was, looks like you're going to the army. Ooh,
no,
sexy.
But we had talked about how you wanted it a bit, maybe like medium length, and you wanted it.
I'm not mad at this haircut. I'm not
mad.
I don't love it, but I'm not mad at it. I prefer this than the previous mistake because in 2 weeks, this will be fine. My whole thing was I went to one of these places because I don't know where to go. And I rolled up and it was like a barber shop. Like it was all European men watching soccer/football. And speaking, I believe it was Spanish, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. And just because a lot of the flags were like these Barcelona flags, I'm like, oh, maybe they're from Spain. And then all of a sudden it felt like a bunch of dudes walked in all together, like all of these old men wearing like, they looked like they were out of Snatch or something. And you're just like, okay, this is the mafia from Snatch. And so I was like, well, I guess I'm in the best. Then they go, yeah, cash only $20. I was like, okay, here you go. Like, here's 30. I'm out of here. And then I went to walk out and there was a guy out front sharpening his like shiv knife. Like he was standing out front, just like.
We love a multitasker.
I was about to say, and then I was like, great, I found my place. This is where I'm going from here on in. None of them talked to me because none of them were speaking English at any point. They were just talking amongst themselves. And I was like, okay.
I'm just gonna, first of all, I should never have worn white for this podcast because I'm very much glowing in a way that's very touched by an angel. But I do want to say, like, you know, when you say that you found a place,
I got it.
I'm never gonna go to that place, but I'm glad that you found it. I'm glad.
But I'll be there for years. Even if I start hating it, I'll still be going to that place.
I do want to just call out what's happening in the chat. And that is Claire is talking about how she is facing her fears and she's going to the dentist. And so she got Invisalign this week and her mouth is in a battlefield. Now, I can tell you, Claire, I've also had Invisalign and you just got to push past that uncomfortable zone. Can I recommend you get a face cloth? You make it really, really hot to where you can like manage it. Throw that in the mouth, suck on it like a little baby. It really helps. It really does.
You had Invisalign?
I've had full braces and Invisalign. And so like Invisalign like feels like braces when they tighten it. So it's like your teeth are so tough. So it's like a hot face cloth, throw it in the mouth. There you go.
Because I or maybe it's just the one I went to down here, but like down here, everything when you do medical things, dentist or whatever, it's always just a bit different because there's a lot of sales behind it.
I know, which is so weird.
And like they literally like treated it like I was buying a car, like take you into the other office and they're like Invisalign, it's going to cost you, it's worth it in the end. And then they give you the bill at the end. You're like, so you want me to pay like $6,000 for this out of my own pocket? They're like, yeah, well, this one isn't covered under your stuff. So
I mean, it is like, interesting because it's like coming, like the thing is like this last week, like I have in the last couple of weeks, like I am on, you know, the path to adult, you know, and so went to the doctors, got the old pap, the old woo-hoo, you know, got some blood work done, went to the dentist, and it's just such a different experience, like you were saying, like being in the States and being here. I mean, this Canada is by no means perfect, literally at all. But it is so crazy how like you like there's no parade for doing all that work. It's so exhausting.
What did you want to happen? Did you want like your friends to come by with a cake and be like, congratulations, good week? Good
let me
dentist?
I think we talked about, I know, but you know what it is? Like, I think I talked about this on the Patreon episode. So tell me if I already talked about it. But when I got my root canal, I did. Yeah. I was so filled with panic. Right. Like, and I was scared and my doctor was not allowing
that. And then he put that cool thing in your mouth. So you'd like, look like this all day.
Exactly. But you know, being complete. So it's just like people telling you to like suck it up, buttercup, like in a very nice way, but you still have these childhood feelings of fear. And like those feelings are very real. Right. But it's like, so the root canal was great. I had a great dentist. He was very good. But then I'm like frozen in my mouth. Still like, oh, this is an uncomfortable sensation. And now they're like, well, go get your wallet because you got to pay for it. And I'm still like coming down from You know, when you're like scared and then you come down and you almost feel like you need to cry or like you just need to release something, you know?
Uh-huh. Yep.
And then like my credit card was declined. Like there was shenanigans.
This is where I thought you were getting to, because you also didn't answer this in the Patreon, because then you're like, no, it all worked out. So you didn't have money to pay for it because you didn't have a credit card, but then it just worked out. So what was the magical thing that worked out?
So I brought the wrong credit card. Yeah. Because I guess I'm a credit card hoarder.
Credit cards. Yeah.
No, but you know, like when one expires and you get a new one, like I didn't cut that one up. So it was still in my wallet.
I have like 6 credit cards right now. And
exactly. And because of the pandemic, like who has a wallet? Like I go out with a debit card, you know, anyways. Thank you. Little dad wallet.
I know, I hate wallets. This is like the first one. I got it for like Father's Day or whatever.
But that's the only wallet a man can have, really.
I don't have, because you knew I always just carried my cards around in that little silver thing, but now I've got a fucking wallet.
You need it. But so
no, I don't.
I'm all frozen. I can barely speak. I'm like, what the fuck happened to my tooth? The thing is declined. I'm covered in hives from a reaction to the antibiotics. Like, I mean, I'm covered in hives. And then I had to like pretend like I had that money in my account. So then I'm like frozen, transferring money to pay, and then hoping the debit amount is not too high, so it'll go through. Then I'm thinking like, if that's not going to work, what am I going to do?
This is a Jason thing, because you could have just, instead of like panicking and stalling, you could have just been like, I'm just going to transfer money from another account.
But like, you don't, right? But you don't, because we've all been there where no one does. No one's going to go, hey, I don't have that amount of money in my checking, so I'm going to have to transfer it over.
$5 ATM? Do you know that $5 ATM?
Yeah. And I'm all frozen. And then I'm in a fucking strip mall. And then, you know, I'm like, where can I cry? Where can I cry? I'm just waiting to cry.
Oh, you've got a strip mall dentist. Okay.
And then you're like, do I order an Uber to go home? And, you know, it can be a very lonely, isolating, overwhelming feeling, even though on paper, it's like you just went and got some dental work.
How are Ubers going for you out there? Because it seems like there aren't any Uber drivers left.
Yeah, I mean, Uber's like a really complicated company. It's like a terrible, brutal company. But Uber,
we still all order Amazon and everything else. We're all just feeding into the
it's so terrible.
Fire.
But yeah, you know, Ubers are you know, picking us up, dropping us off.
No, it just seems out here, it's like I waited an hour the other day for an Uber because I was just like, there's no drivers coming.
I mean, 1 + 1 = LA sucks, but that's, you know, that just might be the mainframe of where you live. But
what were you getting with Jen?
Jen was saying that she has PTSD from a terribly mean dentist when she was a child. My mother went to him her whole adult life, and when he retired, she finally realized dentists don't have to be assholes. Can I tell you, Jen, this was my exact experience now going back to a doctor. Okay. And to a dentist, where I had a cleaning and I was like, oh, my mouth doesn't need to hurt for 5 days afterwards. And like, you know, did a dentist potentially make my tooth dead? I mean, of course, maybe. Did I ask my dentist if that was the case and he didn't want to be rude about the other dentist? Of course.
Our parents are like the generation though of, you know, no pain, no gain. So if they're like, oh, it hurts, it's fucking working. Wait a minute, your dentist, you didn't feel pain for 4 days after? They didn't fucking do a job. I'm going back there. I'm not paying those fuckers.
And I mean, my dentist, like I had braces and like he allowed me to put like colored elastics on it. And I was like, why won't anyone kiss me? It's like, well, because it looks like you just like mowed a salad
like
with the front
of your rainbow. Yeah.
That's generous. It looks like I ate like a salad with kale on its way out, you know?
What'd you put in your salad? Corn, carrots? Watermelon?
That would be such a perfect bully of like you just sitting there like very quizzical, like what? Kale, carrots, corn? Did you get some peppers in there? It'd be so insulting. I did have an amazing hygienist too, and I think I made them uncomfortable with how much I was praising how good they were and how nice they were to me. I will tell you,
they gotta get that, man, because like, you know, dentists don't have an easy time. They put people in their chair all day and then they can't speak to them. So it's just like, you're just cleaning people's mouths out.
And here's the thing. It's like my dentist was like, you know, was incredible. And I, you know, he kind of, I feel like there's a dismissiveness that sort of needs to happen in order to like get people to calm down. You know what I mean? Like I was clearly very scared. And so he needs to be like, you're fine. It's okay. I do this all the time. Like, you know, but that doesn't mean that like the fear isn't real. I was talking about that with my therapist, and she's like, we still need to navigate the panic, and like, how do you like breathe your way out of it, you know?
Yeah. What is the worst thing that could happen? That's a lot of times what I go to. I'm like, well, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Well, a lot, but I also think it's
not really. What's the worst thing that could happen? They jab your mouth unintentionally and you bleed and it hurts for a day.
Totally. I'm finding, or I found sort of relief and like in those moments taking a breath and being like, okay, so you're feeling very overwhelmed because you had bad dentists in the past. Is this a reason? Like kind of talking yourself down in your head while someone's ramming, you know, a stick into your tooth to hold it there.
Well, next time I want you to do that, not inside your head, but I want you to stop beforehand. And when the doctor goes, can I see here? You go, okay, this is going to be fine. I'm going to breathe through this. Every step of the way, have your breath and have your thoughts out.
If I did that, you would be really sad for me because it's like every conversation with someone I don't know.
I think I'd be sad for me. I think that would be what happens.
I'd be like, it's okay. They want to be here. They came up to talk to you. You don't need to freak out, Stacey. Just take a breath. Everything's okay.
I feel like I'm Carl at this party. Nobody wants to talk to me.
Nobody wants. Oh God. Yeah. That's, you know, what can you do?
We don't need to go back to Bachelor. If you want The Bachelor, check out our Patreon episode.
Yeah, check out the Patreon. We're gonna be sticking with those recaps. So and definitely join us in the Discord. It's very much there, very much alive and well. I wanted to bring this up because I mean it would be ridiculous to not. So Free Britney. Are we caught up on what's going on?
Partially. Like I know that I heard and read some of her stuff and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is 10 times worse than I ever knew. Like this is insane, the stuff they've. Yeah. So I don't know enough to be like talk about it smartly. Is that a word? Great. But
sure. I mean, there's so many layers to this whole situation that is so unsettling. And it's basically a woman just held under duress. I mean, I think we can all agree that the conservatorship makes no sense and it's you know, inhumane. And like for how much money and how much she works, it makes no sense that she would be under this like legal control.
Well, the one thing I saw that I was like, oh my God, is this her father or is this the industry or is this like, what the fuck is going on? Because what did they do to her that she can't have kids? Like they're stopping her from having kids. Did they put an IUD in her or what did they do to be like, you stop having kids?
So she has an IUD
that she doesn't want.
And she wants to like have a baby and get married to this boyfriend who like the more I'm digging into the Free Britney, I'm not trusting anyone involved. Okay. I'll tell you that. I'm not trusting him either. However,
let the adult make her mistakes.
Exactly. So she wants to be married, which she's not allowed. She wants to have a baby. She is being forced medically to keep an IUD inside of her, which is absolutely deplorable and disgusting.
That's not that I've seen it, but that's Handmaid's Tale shit, man. Like that's controlling somebody completely and fully.
Absolutely. And this woman, these people, her entire family is profiting off of her and profiting off this conservatorship. And so they are forcing her to constantly get evaluated. So she 60, like she was saying in her court speech or testimony, like, you know, they'll put her away in a house and have her be monitored constantly. It's just absolutely disgusting. It was heartbreaking. It was really empowering to hear her speak and to sort of like reclaim the narrative that has been given. I mean, she's been put on high powered drugs to make her like basically she was put on lithium from a therapist that abused her. You know what I mean? Like it's just disgusting and it needs to end.
Yeah. And then like we're all focusing on, there's a lot of people in the chat being like, well, I don't trust the boyfriend either. But like,
well, yeah,
I'm sorry, but if he's there for the wrong reasons, if that's what it is, and it's like, oh well, he's just gonna rob her fortune. It's like, well, that's fucking too bad.
She's allowed to own her money. She is allowed to be with people she wants. Like the thing is, she can't even drive a car. She can't even be driven in a car. She can't remove an IUD that she does not want in her body. Yeah. She has to take medication that they force her to take. And everyone's profiting millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And it's just so disgusting. Because
then you watch like, I don't know if he's an idiot or not, but he sure came off like one for a long time. But you watch like Justin Bieber and that guy, I just saw a headline yesterday that he bought his 4th fucking astronomically priced house. And it's like, well, let him do whatever he
Well,
wants.
also here's the thing, like Justin Bieber, like I'm not gonna justify his terrible behavior, but also like this is a boy that was given like a bajillion dollars and was surrounded by yes people, and I would care to say, if we were all given that opportunity at that young age and been told how beautiful, gorgeous, talented, amazing we were, I think we might have some hiccups like pissing in a bucket because we could. That doesn't justify the behavior.
Our perspectives would be a bit warped. And to be honest, I'm not far from that. So let's be real. And I lived a different life than Justin Bieber.
Hello, swinging around a guitar, telling my Christian boyfriend, I'm not crazy. Come get it. Okay. I'm just saying that like context is important. He's allowed to grow up. He's allowed to make amends for that terrible behavior. I'm not an apologist of Bieber by any means.
Yeah. What I'm saying is there's something to like, maybe this is a dumb thing to bring up, but like, is it also just because she's a woman versus Justin Bieber, who is like, oh, you can't do anything to stop him from having a baby. So it's like, it's fucking like.
Or well, basically what happened is she was rebelling. I mean, we'll never really know about like the whole shaving of the head, but clearly she was going through, a mental health crisis. And at that time, unlike today, there wasn't like understanding, appreciation, empathy, or support for people that were struggling mentally. So like
Visa knows.
Visa decline. We live and we love.
We should stop Justin Bieber from having a baby. That's not because he's going to get ripped off by a girlfriend. That's because we should stop Justin Bieber from
exactly. And I do imagine Visa dressed like that right now at 1 p.m. on Friday. I do Visa, and I do. But I do think like, she went through a hardship, and like there's been reports of like, and again, this is all allegedly, this is all just things I'm consuming on the grams and on the blogs and things of like postpartum depression, like having like there was no support for her in any way, and people just want to keep this money machine going. So why do you think the conservatorship was there? Out of care for Britney or to protect her money? It's the money.
I didn't know this. This is new information for me, but you probably did. That Jen said Britney's ex-business manager also tried to get conservatorship over Lindsay Lohan.
Yes, and I believe that woman is.
This sounds like a criminal.
Yes, and Britney says I highly recommend that people go listen to her testimony because it's like it's incredibly powerful, very like heartbreaking and gut wrenching.
But that's why I was like, this is fucking insane.
But there's like so many conspiracies around it. Apparently, there was one of the ex-business manager. I could be getting all of this wrong. But allegedly. There's a woman. There's a woman that was involved with Britney's career who was distanced, and now Britney's freaking sister. Okay, enemy number 2 and 3. Sure. Enemy number 1 is the dad, Jamie. Fuck fully off the dad, and the mom and the sister and the brother. Everyone is a piece of shit, and her sister is now in charge of her finances or the trust fund for her sons. And the woman,
is this the sister that ran off SNL?
That's Ashley Simpson. How dare you even?
Simpson.
And how dare you even describe her as that? I mean, Pieces of Me is a treasured track. It's a bop. Okay, good. Be careful.
I was just thinking there's got to be extra. I was like, if that happened to you, and then and then your sister was Britney Spears, because you're right, I got the wrong sister, I got the wrong pop star, but then that would add more to it of like, I want to control her money now. It's like, it didn't fucking go for me the way it did for Britney. And like, but anyways, I'm in a different.
Her sister is now in charge of the trust of her sons, and the woman that she has put in charge of the money was the woman that also has wanted to put a bunch of conservatorships on celebrities. So everyone is trash, and if you follow the money, it gets sadder. And so she, in her testimony, Britney was like, "My family should be in jail, and what they have done to me, they should all be in jail. And I plan on suing my family, and I hope that she does, and I hope that she wins, because her dad makes money for running the conservatorship
$16,000 a month.
And like, let's not think about where he is also in like her business deals and other things. That's just for the conservatorship. Exactly.
That's when we talk about, I found it the other day, is like, you'll find out about athletes. It's like LeBron James makes blank, and you're like, oh my God, that guy's making like fucking, his next contract's going to be $100 million. But then you go, oh yeah, but also, let's not forget, Nike's paying him literally $1 billion. And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
Oh yeah, it's all sponsorships, and again, we're open to any and all.
Sure, $1 billion sponsorships.
Oh, we would love that. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so it's a really depressing thing, and I'm really looking more and more into it. And yeah, it's so sad. Yeah. Britney's sister from Visa is the one who had her show canceled for a teen pregnancy. And then she was on a very shitty Netflix show, which I tried to watch. It was like a Southern, like Hallmark show. Ashley Simpson is now Diana Ross's daughter-in-law, which is crazy. And I love it.
That is amazing. Look, everything's connected out here. You got to, everyone's like knows everybody. And
yeah, I mean, what Visa just said did not imply that any of those people knew each other, but I like that you think it's a big community.
Well, I think Ashley Simpson knows Diana Ross if she's her daughter-in-law now.
Oh yeah. Of course. Yeah. So free Britney forever and always. We got to get her out of this goddamn conservatorship. I mean, it's so gross. And like her just saying, like, I've worked my whole life. I just want to take 2 to 3 years off. It's like, you deserve it, Brit.
Mm-hmm. What's Snake King referring to when he said, yet he can't play in the Olympics?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't get that. Not sure. And also, Justin Timberlake tweeted out like, hey, we should support Britney. And everyone was like, we don't fucking need to hear from you right now, Justin. Like, take 1 million seats.
Yes, but also 100%. But from his perspective, it's like you're probably also surrounded by yes people the whole time, and you still think you're like, oh, I'm relevant in this story. So that he just puts it out there, but we're all like, no, thank you. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, just like what happened with Janet Jackson and Snake King was talking about LeBron. But like the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake thing is absolutely disgusting. And it's just like, Justin, read the room and take a seat. But again, he's probably getting people being like, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? You know? So it's like, and no one's thinking it, nor is anyone wanting it, you know?
Because then you've got the one from being like, maybe you shouldn't say anything. And they go, great, there's the door. Get out of here. We're not talking to that person.
Yeah. It's like when you follow influencers on Instagram and they're like, everyone's been asking where I've been. And it's like, no, we haven't. Who asked that? Your parents? Maybe. Our lives continued, Brenda. We don't really know. Okay. You want to do a Q&A? Sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm working on a secret project that I'll be unable to reveal at this particular time.
Where do you think Justin, because Justin Timberlake for a long time was very cherished and loved pop star for what pop stars are.
Yeah.
Where was the moment where everyone kind of went like, fuck JT?
I think a lot of people were fuck JT for a really long time. Dare I say, I think it's just like
we've got the most patient and passive Robbie Lewin saying Timberlake can frig the hell off forever.
Yeah, but I think society as a whole has changed, and so there was stuff like when he did Cry Me a River, we were like, yeah, get Brit, like we were like, fuck her, you know.
But now you watch back and you go, why did you do that?
Exactly, it's a different time. So like that behavior would not be.
Oh, we got it. Jen has pinpointed the exact time.
I would argue that Janet wasn't the exact moment. I think
it should have been the exact moment.
It should have been the exact moment. No,
or Cry Me a River should have been the exact moment.
Like when they were like, it was a wardrobe malfunction. It's like, no, it wasn't. You know, and Janet had to take the fall because her tit was pulled out of a thing. Yeah. Like it's like I'm wearing a shirt and then someone rips it open and they go, well, Stacey showed her bra. It's like, that was sort of a team effort, I think. I showed my tits. What are you talking about? My shirt was ripped open.
Yeah. So, and I didn't even want to be on that team, but
I don't even play sports. I was going on, it's just one of those times I went out
I was a cheerleader and they threw me the fucking ball. Like, what the fuck?
I was just trying to get a mint Oreo Blizzard. I don't even know these people, honestly. Yeah. So I also think like, yeah, JT just is, and apparently, you know, like TikTok is just like not a fan. Like, I just feel like this terrible behavior is just being like dug up and we're all seeing it with a new lens.
I saw the other day, I jumped back on TikTok because I was looking for something.
Wait, sorry. Is Rob Lewin canceling Jimmy Fallon? What's wrong with Jimmy Fallon?
I don't know.
I mean, we know allegedly, you know, maybe he likes a bev, but I mean, who cares? Ooh, Fallon, we would be on the show. Let us on the
show. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Fallon, if he did anything, but maybe it's just the whole, he's kind of just went to talk show life and has really embodied that whole, like, I don't know. It's not as fun to watch anymore.
Jimmy Fallon's rude in restaurants? I honestly can't see that. Oh. Is he? Give us the juice. Give us the dirt. Honestly, if I was a massive celebrity, I'd never leave my house. I mean,
I'd leave my house all the time.
But like, if you're like, I just think about how we like build up as a society. Like we build up these celebrities, not that they're good people by any means, and then we just salivate at the takedown. You know what I mean?
Yes. Although
the Trump hair tussle. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah. Bad call, of course.
But you know me, how it's like, I would be so upset if like a thing came out, it was like Jason DeRoss is rude in restaurants. I'd be like, oh God. So I'd like to be out there all the time. But you know what I would need is a conservatorship. Because I'd be
I would do it. I would be
I
your
would be out there all the
conservator.
time being like, here's a tip. I would just be waiting for the story to come out the next day. I'd be like, gave him like $1 million tip. This is gonna be fun.
Oh my God. Oh God. I actually take it back. I want nothing to do with your conservatorship. Just getting calls all the time. Jason just spent secretly $1 million. And it's like, okay, great. That's really great. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. It's like, when you hear about like, and I mean, like, oh, he's rude at restaurants or whatever. It's like, yeah, maybe that's the case. But it's like, can you imagine you're just like having a day? Like as a celebrity, like, you cannot have a bad day.
I've heard about different celebrities and like you hear stories from friends because they have a run-in or something. You're like, oh, you're like, I always take it with a grain of salt because I'm like, if I hear it from like 3 people that they had the same run-in with the same, because I've heard like 1 or 2 celebrities where you're like, everybody that meets them thinks what a piece of shit. And then you go, okay, well maybe then they're just a piece of shit.
Yeah. And I think we're both thinking Mike Myers and that's fine. Jen says this, and it's so true. She says, I once had someone point out how much Canadians want celebrities to be nice. It's always the first question we ask. It is really true. And again,
and Mike Myers might be very nice. That Mark Maron episode did really humanize them a whole bunch. And like,
God, I love Mark Maron. Oh my God.
I know.
What a just beefcake delight.
And you know what? God. This is a long-term love. Like this is like,
yeah.
I was going to say something very inappropriate. So I'll just keep it to myself.
Longer than my marriage?
That's exactly what I was going to say. So basically, you're married to Mark Maron at this point.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. What I would give. What I would give.
Let's start a Bring Glow Back campaign so we can just do that, even though I know Alison Brie's off doing another project now. But
well, Alison Brie's like kind of your gal.
No, I don't think she ever was. I mean, like she fits that. I know what you're saying. The petite, fun, awesome. So like she does fall into like the person that I normally would have a crush on, and maybe I do. Maybe I should.
Those petite little brunettes, they really, they really just got the market. I remember every time when I was in LA and I would like read like a rundown of like this woman's quirky and she's fun, and I was like, well. I don't think they want the real quirk. I'd be like, okay, let's send in a sweet petite, a little brunette petite in there. Like I remember like auditioning with, I remember doing this cool audition with Aziz Ansari, and I was auditioning for,
I remember this
Master of None.
Yeah.
To play his girlfriend, and we had to like improvise together, and he was very kind, and it was a very positive experience, but it was interesting to improvise. Like it was interesting to know there was no fucking way in hell.
You told me, but because
I would be playing his love interest. Like I was 7 feet tall in comparison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's not a jab at Aziz. It's just like you throw you guys in a room together. It's like, wow. Maybe you could play his friend,
in like in Hollywood terms, right? Like in TV terms, like I'm sure
they ended
like
up using Noelle, who like it would
Noelle
fit the world of like,
sweet petite. She's a sweet petite.
Yeah, and very funny, and she was fit. She was great in that show. So
of course, she's super talented, but it is like, like I was just like, we had a great date night, huh?
Smack him on the butt, and he kind of trips forward a little bit.
Oh yeah, it was great. I'm like, yeah, right.
Well, in the chemistry test, you probably shouldn't have started doing his voice, because that probably really.
Well, I did tell them in the audition. I was like, Aziz, if you could just take a few seats. I wish JT would, you know what I mean? Anyways, just shut the fuck up and I'll do both parts.
This is how I imagine it going.
You know what's crazy too?
Go upstairs.
I also had like the biggest zit of my life right in the middle of my forehead. So I was just like, you're just like, last night was great. Hey, babe. Remember when we did it? We took our clothes off. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Stacey, just in the script it says, would you like to come up for a cocktail? And you keep saying, want to grab a brew upstairs. So we're just wondering why do you keep changing the line to get a brew upstairs?
Well, that's where Mark Maron is, right? No? Okay. Never mind then. Never mind. Yeah, but it was just one of my like Hollywood moments of like, this is the most, like, it's a cool opportunity, but it's the most wasted opportunity in that this is just never gonna pan out. Yeah. Anyways, I just remember getting back after that audition into a car and looking at the mirror and just seeing how fucking big the zit had gotten. It was out of control.
I love that that's what you were focused on. Pretty big audition, like to be, a lead in Master of None with Aziz Ansari, who was just like top of the world at that point.
Yes.
And you're like, fucking zit.
Well, the show wasn't big at that point, right?
No, but Aziz Ansari was blowing up and it was going to be his vehicle, so it was a great opportunity for somebody that, you hadn't been in something down here yet. So it's like,
and let me tell you, it was one of those auditions where they said, here's a brand new, get rid of the script that you've prepared, where you're just going to improvise.
Yeah.
And then, and then Aziz used all the actual lines from the script. So I was like trying to bounce around. With this,
is the person that told you we're just going to bounce around, we're just going to improvise this, one of the other girls in the waiting room who was also auditioning? Is that who told you that?
Actually, maybe I was.
Oh, don't worry about that. They told us to throw the scripts
out. Throw the scripts out. Oh, they did? Oh, okay. You know what's so funny? This is like inside baseball, then we'll move on. But like, I didn't have a printer. I still don't have a printer, but like back when like you would have to go into audition rooms, and they would go like, oh, here's your sheets. Like, here's your, sides, which is what they're called. A few times I would ask, like in desperate moments, like, hey, can I, like, if they're leaving, like, hey, do you mind if I just like use your sides? And they like, some women just would not, and they would throw it in the trash. I had a woman rip and then toss them.
Well, because some of them will have their choices on there.
Oh God, I can't with the choices.
But they will. They'll have their notes and everything because they're like, whatever. So when they walk in there, they might be like, you can't see these. This is what's going to win me the job.
No, that would be different if she was like, I have personal information. But to be like, nah, I'm good. Blink.
Or don't say anything. Can I borrow your sides?
That is kind of Los Angeles. Or have you ever done this where you have a really bad audition and when you leave, you just go, well, fuck that. You just chuck it into the trash.
I remember the first joke. It's one of those things like the first time I heard it, I was like, that guy's great. This was funny. But now it's like, I can't hear it again. When a guy walks out of the audition, he goes, all right, guys, I guess you can all go home.
Oh, God.
You're like,
okay.
The first time you hear that, you're like, that guy's confident. He probably had a fun time in there. Oh, that's funny joke. He probably didn't do that well and he's just being whatever. But then like 96th time, you're like, okay, we get it.
Or when you have to audition with someone you don't know and you have to play husband and wife or friends or whatever it is. And then afterwards they're like, we killed it. And it's like, get that fucking hand away from me, Mark. Get it away from me. Don't high five me. Hey, you were great in there. You're funny. Give me some of this. It's like, fuck you. Give me some of this.
Although I prefer that rather than sometimes auditioning with friends, because sometimes like when you were my reader or like
Okay, let's talk about that. It wasn't actually, that's a gift that I'm in
it
the
should
room
be a
while you're
gift.
It was a gift to the many friends who came in. You were
Yeah.
the only one who
I'm
went,
like,
ah, fuck.
I'm
No,
like,
you said,
fuck an iPod. This isn't gonna sync up with my fucking Android. This is the worst gift.
you literally walked in the room and saw me there and you went, ah, fuck. Well, I'm not booking this. Hi, Stacy. And they were like, is everything okay? And I was like, Jason?
Well, the same thing happened down here. So they did a Tim Hortons. For some reason, Tim Hortons was down here, whatever. So they were like, great, Canadians. And you know, down here, it's like, when you go, we used to go to auditions in Toronto, like, you know, everybody, the community's pretty small. So you walk in the audition, he's like, what's going on? Oh, this is great. This is our hangout time. Down here, you know, nobody knows each other because everyone's transient and everyone just comes in like, whatever.
Yeah.
I disagree. I like the hangout time. But then when I did, it was like, I had to go in with a friend, our friend, Leslie Seiler. And it was weird. We got paired up as husband and wife. And it threw me, I was just off. I was just like,
but that's a you
she
thing.
knows me. I know it's a me thing. I'm aware of it. And I don't know how to break the trend of like,
also, Chris Sadiki's in the chat, and he says that every time after his auditions that he booked it. And Jan just responded with what I was going to say, which is that's because you always book it, and it's because he does. He does. So fucking
Do you know what
talented.
happened this morning? Literally before I was on here, a memory popped up, and it was like sometimes my self tapes are in my.
It's like you plugged into your mainframe. A memory popped up.
No, yeah, but
in
like
my
you know
brain.
how you get like your Google or something will be like 7 years ago today or whatever. And it was a self-tape. And I was like, I don't remember doing this one. And it was for a role called Turnip on The Amazing Gail Pyle. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I watched it. I was like, yeah, my audition's terrible. But then I was like, I wonder who booked that. I never even thought about it. Chris Siddiqui. Chris Siddiqui booked that role.
Also, I would say that
but I watched it. I was like, Chris Siddiqui would be perfect for this. So.
But if anyone were to walk out of a room and go, "Ooh, I booked it," it would be Chris. And we'd all be like, yes, that feels fresh and new.
But then our next friend would walk out, do the same thing. You'd be like, okay. No, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else. Yeah. Anyone else. It wouldn't be. I remember having to do a mattress commercial. I think I've already talked about this, but it was in LA and they kept me there a long time because they wanted to find me a realistic lover. So like these models were coming in. They were like, yeah, we're not going to pair you guys up. And I was like, can I just get the fuck out of here?
You're from Kevin Can Go Fuck Himself, basically.
Can we talk about that show? I love it.
Yeah, we can talk about that show.
What? You talked about it with Jan?
No, not at all. So
what's your problem?
Let me preface it then really.
Well, yeah, I think we need a preface because what the fuck are you reacting like that for?
I've been working on this thing for a long time.
What thing?
Writing, you're going to hate this already, but writing a script. And I was like, this is an amazing.
God. Okay, so Jason's writing another script and the show already exists.
Well, so my premise of my show was like,
here we go.
On these old multicams, the Urkel or the Skippy or the Kimmy Gibbler is always sort of like treated like shit and as like a joke, and we laugh at them and they have the laugh track and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So my show was called Neighbor, and it was essentially going to be a multicam, but then as soon as they closes the door and leaves the house, it gets really gritty and dirty. And then the story,
so the show.
Things happen. And now I'm like, well, Kevin Can Go Fuck Himself comes out. It is pitch perfect. It's done so well. Plus it has the angle of like sitcom wives have been treated like shit forever. So it's like, it's already better than my concept. But now I'm like, well, I'm just going to throw that out because they've done it perfectly. It's fucking, it's a sick show.
Yeah. I mean, that's always a tough call. I remember writing a spec for New Girl, which a spec is like, you're writing your own episode. And then I wrote it and was submitting it around. And then like 2 weeks after I was submitting it around, that exact episode was released. And I was like, well, this is trash. But maybe this is the universe telling you, Jason, don't write another script until you sell one of the ones you've already written, which are multiple.
Sell them. I'm putting a package together. So I have it. This is stuff we could talk about after, but like, but no spoilers about Kevin Go Fuck Himself. But it's the premise is already known. It's a sitcom, like a multicam sitcom wife who's treated like a multi-sitcom wife. And I bring it up too because it's like they basically put Kevin James with Leah Remini, and you're like, well, this woman's gorgeous. And
okay, well, it has nothing to do with King of Queens, but what it
does. That's where I thought that's where they got the title from, because it's like Kevin James can basically go fuck himself because he keeps doing sitcoms with gorgeous women.
Okay, yeah, but yes, but you need to like look at like the current day. Like Kevin James just represents like so many of these men, but Kevin James also has a he had a new sitcom, and then he just like killed his wife off and like brought Leah Remini in. But anyways, yeah, so it's incredible. Annie Francis from Schitt's Creek is in it. Oh, sorry, Annie Murphy. What did I say? Francis? Annie Murphy. Yeah. She's super, super good. Chris just said, I booked the show. I'm Kevin. But then like we're all in love with Kevin, and we're like, I think she's sort of like overreacted. We're like all on Kevin's side. It's so good.
It's so good because they really play into like how big of a piece of shit her husband is and stuff, and you're like, wow.
I mean, no, not really. Like,
no, not really. It's not too far of a stretch of like what you would. It's a really well written like.
You just sort of flip flopped instantly when I was like, not really. You're like, totally, not really.
Well, what I'm saying, it's subtle, but like they're really like he's a real piece of shit. Which I know like most of them are. It's not too much of a stretch, but like they're definitely like focusing on like.
Well, I think what it is like they take the situational circumstances that you would find in sort of like a 3-camera sitcom, and then they give it like realistic weight. Like, how would he actually afford these things? How would he actually do these things? These crazy like situations they find themselves in, like what are the real life consequences of that? And so that's what I think is interesting, because it's like, he is not a great guy, but it's like, it's so nuanced as to like the layers of that. It's based in Boston. She does have to do a Boston accent.
She does go in and out of the accent a bit.
I could do without the accent. I don't need it. Yeah.
But it's great. It's great. She's great. It's I've watched the first 2 hours because the first was 2 episodes put together. Yeah, it's great. Good.
I highly recommend people check it out. Jan says, remember when Adam Sandler sang that sad song about Chris Farley when he hosted SNL a little while ago and then basically said Kevin James sucks? I mean, yeah, I think he does.
I don't remember that part, but I get it's like he probably just referenced of like how Kevin James, we had to like basically, we did Grown Ups where it's all of our friends, but one of our friends is dead. So we just got Kevin James to fill in.
Kevin James stinks butt, and I don't like his content. And there I said it. And there I said it.
Controversial.
But, the show is really good, and I'm sorry that they did your idea, Jay.
No, that kind of stuff happens all the time because it's not my idea, but because too, like you start to think of stuff and you're like, oh well, now they did it. It happens all the fucking time because ideas are out there in the ether and people are all grabbing onto them, like it's what's in the zeitgeist and everything. So
yeah, but man, what an interesting show, and I really like it. It's also like a cool lesson in lighting, right? Because they're obviously using the same set, and it's just like how lighting can change everything.
They're just like basically Breaking Bad filters, almost. It's like it feels like you go into like that world of like. It felt like Breaking Bad, the feel and the vibe when they went into her sort of perspective.
Oh yeah. And it's been good because like I've really needed a new show because I'm just kind of like, you know.
You did Hacks, right?
I did Hacks. I finished Hacks.
Okay, there you go.
Didn't love the ending. I'll watch second season. I don't love the younger character.
I don't know who she is. I should, I guess, but
yeah, I just don't. I'm not saying her as an actress. I'm just saying the character, and I don't think we're supposed to enjoy her. But Jean Smart is like delicious and wonderful and layered and incredible and such an amazing actress, and it's like so incredible to watch. It's
crazy because when I was a kid, I loved designing women, but I think she wasn't. When you're a kid, like she was not my favorite part of that. Like,
yeah.
And so now you grow up and you're like, oh, it's Jean Smart, and she's amazing.
Yes.
So, but where's Annie Potts, man? I love Annie Potts.
I mean, Annie Potts is around. I mean, just in Ghostbusters. I mean, it was the female one, so obviously you didn't like it. That's
just in Ghostbusters. She was in the original Ghostbusters.
No, I know, but you just said, where is she recently? I was like, well, she was just in that movie.
And let's address this. Didn't like the all-female Ghostbusters. I didn't hate the all-female Ghostbusters.
Well, I remember you saying like, how dare women? Like, what are they doing out of the kitchen? That seems crazy. Yeah. How did they act and do craft services? That seems crazy.
And did they have to pause the production every few months because one of them got pregnant? For fuck's sakes. How did they hide that?
How'd they have their period and shoot? It makes no sense.
And for sure they got more money to spend on sets and stuff like that because they didn't have to pay the actors as much. So like fucking there's more budget for like set.
We could have had more set.
Didn't have to pay the craft table people because the actors could cook. They're women. They could cook their own shit.
Of course. No, I really loved Designing Women, and it was such a good show. Jan says she's rewatching it right now, and that Jean Smart is so underrated in the show, and she was so good and totally overshadowed by the rest. And she's just like so sensual. Like, my God, like she's such a sexy woman.
Yeah. For those who haven't seen it is, yeah, she is. That show's great. That Hacks was just great. I thought it was really
Hacks is great. You know what I've been trying to do, just because, we're still, I'm, double vaxxed to the maxed, but hell yeah. But still, slowly dipping our toe back into real life. So I've just been trying to watch movies, like unencumbered, just like not on my phone, watch full movies. I just watched Moon with Sam Rockwell.
From a while ago? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from a while ago.
Yeah. That's okay.
I remember when it came out, everyone was like Moon, and then you watch it, you're like, it's good. But if you wouldn't have said Moon to me, I would have been like, that was a really good movie. But because he built it up so much, I was like, yeah, it's okay.
Is it a good movie? I don't know. I don't know.
I think people just like Sam Rockwell. I like Sam Rockwell. That guy's pretty.
I told you about my Sam Rockwell story, right?
Yeah, was this in the car?
No. I was walking Burger and Vic. Christopher Pine. My God, does he owe you money? So I was walking down the street with the dogs, and at the corner was like this guy, like almost in a, like, I think I've said the story before, but it was in
yes, you have.
He was in his Tommy Bahama shirt.
Yeah.
I was picking up shit, and he was like, cool dog. And I was like, oh my God. And my vagina fell off. And then I threw it at him, and he didn't catch it, unfortunately.
Too bad.
He was just like, he was like, no.
In his Tommy Bahama shirt.
Like so sexy, just biking around the city. Like, oh my God.
I feel like I'm so happy that Snake King's back. But I also feel like maybe he went to the dentist today and there's a bit of gas going on. Because what's the deja vu again now about? And then holy shit, this is crazy. Or I'm just missing stuff. Snake King, you're over my head today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what the deja vu is again, but probably just the story, because I've already told it like a million times. But when you meet Sam Rockwell, you got to talk about Sam Rockwell, So that's just where I'm kind of at with that whole situation. Because he is a very attractive man. I will say though, Moon was just kind of whatever. Mm-hmm. Just sort of kind of whatever.
I don't even remember that well. Maybe
I've just been trying to watch old movies. I will highly recommend, if people haven't seen Inside by Bo Burnham. We were talking about it earlier today. I would highly recommend that. I was rewatching it last night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I felt like it needed a rewatch,
You're right. Because then it's like the first time you're just like, whoa. And then, so yeah, maybe I'll watch it again. That's what I'll do.
It's just an incredible example. Like, I mean, I wouldn't call it a stand-up special by any means, but it certainly is like a special.
It's not a stand-up special in any ways.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Snake King goes, I'm watching you guys, and this whole convo is deja vu. Like, we already had the exact convo. Well, I guess you've watched the regulars. It's all pretty much the same every day. Snake King comes back and just roasts us constantly.
Where's Voodoo? You guys fall in love already and get this over with.
Where is Voodoo? What's going on? Where's the gang,
Back to work.
So you guys are back in Los Angeles, like no masks, like you kind of are just back to normal.
Well, yes and no. Yeah. June 15th, it was like, here we go. Bam. I think you can do whatever the fuck you want now. However, there is, the numbers are starting to go a little bit back up again. So it's getting back to the little fights of like, you see people being like, wear your fucking mask. I love my freedom. Go fuck yourself. And you're like, why did we ever politicize this? Like, I know. It's like putting on your fucking underwear. Just put on a mask that doesn't bother anybody.
It's really not that big of a deal. Yeah. Although
we're kind of back. We're back. I went out last night to a bar, which I haven't done, and sat on a patio with a couple friends, and that was different sure.
It was nice.
Some guy came up. He's like, because I had a friend there that saw another person on the patio that they knew and we didn't know. So then that person came over and gave them a hug. But then they're like, "Hey, my name is fill in the blank," and then he reached out for a handshake, and I remember going, "Whoa, yeah, I guess handshake. Great. So that was really weird to have that moment of like, oh yeah, I don't know you, but here we go. Let's shake hands.
Great.
That was kind of awkward.
It'll be nice to get back to that, I think.
Yeah.
You know,
to get over the first one. I just had to get over the first one. And then I started, then I went around the bar and I shook everybody's hand. They didn't ask for it.
It's like the first time having sex. You just kind of got to get through that first one. And
the first time I had sex, the next day I went out and I just plowed through men, women, whatever. I had a great time. Great day.
That was me. Oh my God. I was like, I think I need a redo.
We all need a redo after the first time.
Oh my God. Anyone who's like, booked it after their... You guys can all go home because I booked it.
Just walk out of the bedroom and say that out loud. I remember my mindset in the first time that it was happening. I remember being like, as it was happening, I was like, I gotta call my friend. I gotta call Ryan.
This explains you to a T. It's like it's all a bit for you. Like just
it wasn't present. A bit. It was like I can't believe this is happening. I gotta tell my best friend. I gotta tell him this is crazy. But it wasn't like it wasn't like a comedy bit.
No, but
I probably did some comedy bits during it.
Ew! What's the deal with airplane food? So gross. Oh, Jason's frozen.
Back.
Yeah, you're back now. Yeah, that's a simply no thank you on that. Anyone being confident after their first time having sex, like I want that energy.
I wasn't confident.
What is that?
I didn't know it was fucking happening.
Like? You didn't wait. What?
Well, I knew it was happening. What was it? But I didn't initiate it. The lights were off, and
what do you mean? But you knew what was happening. As it was
happening, sure,
but like, you can't say I didn't know it was happening.
I didn't know it was going to, and I didn't know it was happening until it was like too late. Where I was like,
too late? What do you mean too late?
I don't want to explain this on air.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm concerned. There was many turns you could have taken to just level it out. I just want to know that you're in control.
I was in control. Yeah, I wasn't in control, but I wasn't also like, oh no. It was like, whoa, I gotta call Ryan. This is fucking great.
Gross. I absolutely detest that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of course, you should. But at the same time, it's like nobody's right their first time.
Unless it's like on other people or normal people. Normal people. When they have sex for the first time and it's like so hot. Have you seen them? You've seen the show. We talked about it.
Yes. Okay. I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about this. I haven't seen the show Normal People.
A bit of gas
Why
going
am I breaking up? This is crazy.
I don't know. We sort of lost you at the end. You were just telling your sex story and then you were like frozen with a smile going, I didn't know what's happening. I don't know if I want to talk about it. Did I ever tell you I was asked to do this show once about like your first time like having sex, like as if it was like a crazy story?
I remember when you were doing that. Yes, wasn't that for television? Like it was for MTV or something?
It was for it was for Much Music or something. And I remember being there and then realizing like you know, like my story was like special. It was with someone I loved, and it wasn't like like some stories are amazing, and like if people want to share them, that's great, and I want to hear them. I mean, I'm such a nosy Nelly. I'm like, tell me about this crazy story. But then I was like, mine's not even that interesting. It's like we were in love and it was wonderful.
Yeah, mine was opposite, and like mine was a train wreck. And I've only done stand up I think 3 times, and I think in one of those I told the story, that exact story. So
oh really?
Yeah.
Maybe I've heard this story and I've just forgotten. But yeah, I just remember being
it's the one where I end up you definitely heard it because I end up running around to Scotcherfield naked, crying my eyes out. So yeah, you've heard it.
But you loved her.
Well, I liked her a lot.
Yeah.
But she was out of my league and didn't know who I was.
Well, I think she knew who you were enough to have sex with. After you have sex, she's like, who are you? I don't know you. You're like, I love you.
Anyways, I'm going to go meet my boyfriend now, which did happen too. So I was like, okay, see you later.
She had a boyfriend. Oh, but that's like scandalous.
I didn't know until after.
I know, but isn't that like, ooh, shishi wee wee? Isn't that like a little like, oh my gosh, we shouldn't be doing this? Not
when you didn't know that was the truth.
Well, right, because this is like in high school where you're like, you're my girlfriend forever. Yeah. You're like a romantic.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, I'm not judging. Like yeah. What?
Just a lot of fun comments. Everyone's like, yeah, and Voodoo's here. I love it. He's pounding out Snake King, and Snake King's giving him a high five back or whatever. This is great.
No, I'm with Jenny. Like, I love first time stories, and like, yeah, she's like, I also like first time BJ stories. Those are my fave. I mean, those are hilarious. I do love those.
I can't even recollect. I wouldn't. I don't.
Well, we don't want to hear it.
I know we don't want to hear that. I don't.
I loved her. She's still my wife to this day. Years.
And when I say first time, I think it's coming. I think my first time is around the corner.
It's around the corner. That's what I think about when like people who like save themselves for marriage and it's like then their wedding day. It's like I was exhausted.
Like, I'm more like you saved yourself for your wedding. Like it's not going to be good. We just talked about how your first times are not good. So like, why save that for your wedding day? You know, like nobody puts on a show without rehearsing first. So fucking like, you know, are you going to go watch? If you showed up to the Lion King and they were like, all right, tonight we have a special for you. None of these actors have done this show before. Get ready for ultimate romance and love. First of all of it, it's our first time doing
you
this
and
show.
I would sit front row. Because we'd be like, fuck yeah. All of these understudies have never done this before. I'd be like, I can be here every night. And I hope it's a new cast every night.
New stage manager.
Yeah, no one knows what they're doing.
Nobody's ever in their light. And then you just walk out and go, I think that was great. It went by very quickly. The show was done very quickly. The second basically went right to like, yeah. And then they left and they haven't called back.
The second they lifted Simba up in the air to show him to the other animals, there was an immediate apology. An immediate apology. They said that they thought that they'd at least make it to intermission.
The actors on stage started calling their friends and telling them what just happened and how happy they were.
Yeah, Simba had to like run to the bathroom, call an Uber. That's honestly the best way to describe it is just like if you've never had sex before, it's like immediately getting a call that you're doing Lion King, but you don't know the lines or the moves and you just have to make it work.
Yeah. And then we go, okay, great. Wouldn't you rather marry somebody that is like has been on Broadway and then you're like, I'm gonna see a fucking great show tonight, man. I'm gonna see Bo Burnham's special. This is gonna be great.
You want to hope someone's written a Broadway show. That's what you're hoping for. Yeah. That's the thing. That's it's like everyone can choose what they want to do, but you know, even seeing like Mike on The Bachelor, being like, I'm gonna love you forever. It's like just sometimes she probably wants to get railed, Mike, and it's not all about a poem. So okay,
but Mike's still. He's still crying about Laura. So like, that's a tough one.
No, that's Michael.
Well, whatever. Mike A. Yeah. Mike P. You're talking about the ventriloquist doll. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Mike P. who's just like, has that huge cross and he's like, I'm saving myself to marriage. And I was like, well, that's
right. Exactly. Of course. Because he's the one that's still a virgin.
Yeah.
Except for the hand that goes up his butt all the time for being a ventriloquist doll. He's essentially a ventriloquist doll.
Why do you think he's a ventriloquist doll?
He's got that face. He's got the classic ventriloquist doll face. Like it's a perfect shape like this where it goes, and then he's got that dumb smile and that haircut that is like a bit of a box. I'm like, I feel like someone put a puppet together.
Wow. You know what? You are such a caring, understanding person, but there are a few people from the Bachelor franchise you do not fuck with, and it's both the Mikes.
I'll fuck with Mike P. Mike A. I'm on your. But I do believe
on Mike A side because
I'm on Mike A side. I feel like there's things that he doesn't know about himself. I feel like he thinks he wants to move on. You're not ready, buddy. You're just not ready. Okay, so let's do it on national TV.
Shayla says you kept bringing up his dead wife.
Yeah. Oh, he's in love with her still, and that's beautiful. Like for those of you who don't know. He got together with her in 2003, like straight out of like school, I believe.
Like, you know his memoir, like
it's on the show.
You don't know information about anything, and yet him getting with his wife is seared into your fucking brain. You don't even know your middle name. It's a beautiful story.
I don't need him. I don't need to remember my middle name. I know the initials B. That's what I have to put on all the paperwork, and then I don't remember the rest of my middle name. I don't need it.
Jason Beater. That sucks.
It does.
And my middle name's Leanne. That's even worse. But Jason B. DeRoss.
Oh, you're Stacy L.A. McGonigal.
Slam, bitch.
Where did you think Leanne came from? Or do you know where Leanne came from?
I think at the bottom of a trash bin.
I was going to say, like, your parents were listening to country music at the time or something like.
No, I think like they probably looked at a broken down, dirty RV called Leanne and they went, that's perfect.
Jen's ready to put down $1,000 that my middle name is Brad or Bradley.
And what is it?
Well, can I bet Jen first?
Yeah.
My middle name is Bradley. I'd lose that bet.
Jan says she's going to bet me $1,000. We're going to tell you, you're right. It's Bradley.
But she's, I don't know if you knew that already, Jay, because I'm not lying. You're 100% right. My middle name is Bradley.
You said your initial is B. What else would they have called you? Jason Bob DeRoss?
Yeah. Yeah. J Bob.
It's interesting. You kind of just got two regular guy names.
Well, I know where my name came from.
Oh, what is it?
It's literally just my dad picked a name, my mom picked a name, and then they're like, "Great, I get the first name, and you get the middle name."
Who got the first name?
I think my dad did, and my mom wanted to call me Bradley, but the way they dealt it before, and they're like, "If it's a girl, you pick the name, and if it's a boy, I get the first name," and then they'll switch up. That's how they did it, I believe.
So you just got two regular guy names.
It was the fucking late 70s, so like.
So
people weren't into just like every class that I was in had like 8 Jasons.
Yeah, I mean, like Jason's like a guy name.
Yeah, and it was just really popular at the time, and I have no idea why. Snake King would have came close. Bradford.
Yeah, I remember asking my parents why I was named Stacy, and they were like, "What else would go with McGonigal?" And I was like, "Oh, but I have to write an essay. Can you fill it out? Can I get a story? Can I get some magic?"
Melissa McGonigal.
Ew. I mean, Stacy's rough. I mean, also like Stacy Alert from Wayne's World. Everyone goes, Stacy Alert.
It's true. And that movie came out before Stacy was born. Stacy's a mere 26 years old right now. So
I'm so young and little. I'm not even fully
somehow grown. The Stacy's mom though was not, and then that was written about Stacy's actual mom. So
yeah, I just imagine her smoking a cigarette and sucking down a Corona, going, "This song's about me," and it's like, great. We're glad that you got a moment in the sun. Okay, so I feel like we've done it. It's so nice to be back. Mm-hmm. So nice. So a couple of things. So we are doing, I believe we did a vote on the Patreon. So this Sunday, we're going to be doing some cocktails and chats. So if you've been wanting to dip a toe, like I said, you can dip the toe into Patreon. $5 will get you in. So on Sunday, 8 p.m., we will be doing a live stream. If you want to join, bring a cocktail. We're going to have a little time. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah. And then the following Tuesday, we'll Bachelor recap
on the old Patreon. So you'll be getting that extra episode. We adore you all so much. Thank you for hanging out. It's so nice to see you all. And we will see you next week. Bye.